Aloha, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. The next hour you're going to spend with us and the Maui Nonprofit Notes as we talk story with our Maui Nonprofit Executive Directors and their staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, you've just got to stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. As you know, each week during this hour, we share the experiences of how our nonprofit agencies are working to benefit our island home with stories of how these agencies are changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those in need. Today, we're going to start out with a couple of people from the Kidney Foundation. We've got Leanne Suzuki, who is a transplant.
I'm a transplant recipient.
Recipient, that's the word I wanted, right there, okay. And Colleen Welty, who is the Maui Director for the National Kidney Foundation of Hawaii. Hi, Colleen.
Hello.
How are you?
Nice to be here. I'm fine.
Oh, and nice to have you with us, Leanne.
Thank you.
We were talking a little bit before the show, I'm still trying to understand all the pieces of this. And I had mentioned to you that I had a friend who ended up in the hospital this past couple of weeks, and is now on dialysis, and it's got to be a scary thing for a doctor to tell you've got to go on dialysis.
Yes, it's very scary. It's a shock. It changes your whole life.
I would think so, yeah. Now, for you were in your early 20s?
That's correct.
And what kind of warning signs or what brought you, to this point? Obviously, you didn't start out with kidney failure, but you had some other indications or some other illnesses that kind of led up to this.
Yes, my underlying disease is lupus. It normally affects your organs. And when it affected my kidneys, I had no knowledge. And I had subtle signs. My hair would fall out. I had symptoms like arthritis in my fingers. I was extremely tired. I had that butterfly rash on my face. And, way back when, about 20 or so years ago, nobody really knew much about lupus.
Right. Yeah, they misdiagnosed it as arthritis all the time.
Yeah, that's right. So here on Maui, no one really knew what was happening. So when I went to Oahu, finally they kind of figured out I had lupus, and by then it took a toll on my kidneys. Wow. So over a 10-year period, I finally had to go on dialysis, and that's a whole nother experience again.
Especially for a 20-year-old, yeah.
Yeah.
So now I guess they're getting better at diagnosing lupus, from what I understand.
Yes.
And there's certain tests that pretty much point to that.
Right.
And so they're not confusing arthritis with lupus. But can arthritis be a starting point? Or does it come on like arthritis and then turn into lupus? Or it really is lupus?
I really don't know, but it is a rheumatologist that monitored me during my time. So it's somehow related in that family, but I don't know.
Now, is lupus one of the normal precursors to kidney problems?
Most kidney disease is caused by diabetes and or high blood pressure, especially if those are not under control. Mm-hmm. Like about 90% that come from those two things. So the other autoimmune types of things are that, and other diseases. Yeah. So,
I see.
That's right.
That's you, Leanne.
How do you like being called an other?
You're an asterisk.
Better to be an asterisk than a footnote.
Yeah. True.
So when we talk about, as you said, diabetes and high blood pressure,
right?
Did you have any of those?
I'm not diabetic.
With the rest?
But during the course of my 10-year period, I did develop hypertension, which is high blood pressure, and it did cause my eye to have problems. So in my left eye, I can't see I have a detached retina.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's really important to see the doctor regularly, keep your medicines up, which, you're kind of on a denial thing. So you sometimes, I'll take my medicine. You forget a few hours later, I have to take my medicine. But it doesn't work that way all the time.
Wow. So now the detached retina, it was part of the hypertension.
Yeah, that's right. So it's permanent.
It's, yeah, okay. Wow.
And that's why it is important to get your eyes checked every year, even if you have no diseases or symptoms or anything. Get your eyes checked, because through your eyes they can detect a lot of things. They can detect
Oh, really?
diabetes.
Yeah.
They can detect
That's
kidney
right.
problems. So your eyes are, like they say, a window into your
Into-
body. And so
I
even
thought
if
it was
you
your soul. But
yeah, yeah,
the body too.
knows?
So when they're looking in your eye, they're looking at a lot of things.
yeah,
They
yeah.
catch a lot of
Literally.
things early on,
Yeah.
from what
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
understand.
And like one of the kidney doctors was speaking at our support group the other night, and he said if I see someone and they don't have diabetes, I wonder if it's really kidney disease. You know, he said so much they're so related through the eyes that it really raises some red flags. If maybe it's something else then. If they don't have the diabetes problem, but they're saying it's kidney disease, I wonder if it is. That's how prevalent.
Oh, I see.
You know.
But they would still treat
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and work through whatever. So lupus. And then you develop some of these other things along the way. But
Yes.
the tiredness and the swelling, is swelling part of lupus too?
Yes. Well, actually, the swelling is part of my kidneys slowly shutting down.
Okay.
So, in the latter part, I would have the edema, which they call swelling, and the tiredness was still there and everything. But eventually, when the doctor said that I should be on dialysis, it was the choice of hemodialysis, which is going down to the center, or peritoneal dialysis, which they call PD, which you can do at home.
Now that's the first time I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Peritoneal.
Yes, it's way easier on your body. It's something natural that you would do every day, maybe 3 to 4 times a day. And there's nurses down at the dialysis center that help you, train you. You can call them at any time. There's social workers there as well. And we started putting on this presentation. There's going to be another one in August, that we have doctors come in, the social workers come in, and we talk about things that can help you. And we have some doctors talking about how they can tell what's happening, what's going on, and how they can help you as well.
I'm fascinated by this as another choice. Is it just as good as going to the dialysis center?
Yes.
Or better?
They say it's even better because you feel better. You
Okay.
don't get the cramping after your session, which if you're on hemodialysis at the center, you go down there 3 times a week, and sometimes it's for 5 hours or more, and you have a shunt in your arm, and they have to poke that every session. And after, from what I heard, you cramp up, you feel really tired, you don't feel good at all.
Right.
Compared to peritoneal dialysis, you do it every day on a regular basis, your body feels good. You don't have that cramping or tiredness.
Right. And you can choose spreading it out over the day.
I think it was every 4 hours or 5 hours a day.
Okay. So you're actually getting the same 4 hours of cleansing
Right.
that you would get at the kidney center.
Right.
Only you're deciding the hours.
Yes, it's a more natural process.
yeah.
And there's also a machine that you can take home and hook up, and it's a peritoneal method as well.
Oh, okay. So like a pump of some sort, or
Yeah, you would do
it
that
helps.
at night.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
But when you did it, it was actually inside your body. That
Yes.
was a cavity in your abdomen. That was.
Yes, my peritoneal was acting as the dialysis center.
Oh, I see.
Isn't that amazing that your
It
body can
is.
do that? And you drank something or injected a fluid that helped clean it, or nothing?
Nothing.
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 Oh, okay.
It was just
Wow.
the solution that would go into my peritoneal and for dialysis. And every once in a while, if my iron level, my albumin level was low, I'd give myself an injection. But from what I understand now, you can go to the hospital and they'll do it for you.
Gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It
What
is.
did you need at home to do it? Like a really clean area or an assistant, or I mean, it's not for everybody to do at home. How were you able to pull it off at home?
When it was my turn to do this, Halimaco Home Health came in.
Ah,
They helped me. Doctors and the nurses helped me set up the ordering of my solutions to be kept at home. You need a closet space that you can keep your solution boxes in. And if you travel, it's not a problem as well. I traveled outer islands, and you would just order your supplies, have it delivered there, and when you arrive, it's there. They supply everything: the scales, the injections, the gauzes, everything.
amazing.
You don't have to worry about that, and it's Medicare and HMSA.
so
covers
it allows you to keep up with kind of more of a regular life
Yeah.
than being tied to a machine every other day.
That's right. And now I've heard it's
incredible.
even better because more and more people know about it and are doing it.
That's interesting.
So they're really trying to encourage it.
And the outcome is the same.
Better.
Better.
She's a trailblazer.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
I'm trying.
And so now, as a kidney transplant recipient, how long has it been since you received your kidney?
Well, September 30th of this year will make 16 years.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness!
16 happy years. I've been very fortunate.
Wow.
Everything's going very well.
And the one and only,
Yes.
because I
I
do
just
hear that
have-
sometimes it takes a couple before they don't get rejected or something happens.
You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's taking the medicines regularly on time, keeping up. I'm not sure. I know it's God. A lot of
There
it
you
is
go.
God.
There you go. I was going to say I can see you being very religious about doing this.
You know, it's everything. All the people, the friends, the family. And that's why I want to
Right.
give back something if I can. So that's why we formed this HOT group, Hawaii Organ Transplant Group. We're working with the National Kidney Foundation, and it's really taking off.
That's cool. Now this is meant for people who've had kidney transplants or who are on dialysis or everybody.
Both, everybody.
Everybody.
Even if you just started having kidney problems and you want to know what's ahead for you, we're working on prevention as well as everything else.
That's terrific.
The other night at our support group, we had like two couples there, and in those cases, the husband was the patient, and so the wives were like, "We have to be advocates. We have to be, really navigators for them through this system." And imagine just finding out one day you have to go into this world, and it's kind of overwhelming where you don't know who can help you and when does Medicare kick in and what forms, and Liberty Dialysis has social workers, dietitians, and all of that, workers to
Right.
help. So, but we are just kind of supporting them and cheerleading for them, and it's wonderful to have people who have been on dialysis themselves, so
Right.
different than the staff, the 1.5 of us who
The
work
rest of
there,
us
but
telling you, yeah.
yeah, and then also have received an organ or donated an organ. They've actually gone through it, so
Yeah.
they're
Been there, done that.
invaluable to
Right,
us.
right. At least we can, we
Right.
know what you're going through or will go through.
But now I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm hearing that even though you were seeing doctors about the lupus and,
Right.
and all the things that went with that, it was still like just, bam, all of a sudden, there's this kidney issue.
Right, right. As soon as I found out I had lupus, it did affect my kidney, but I could function as a normal person. And, as the years went by, my kidney function just started declining. And eventually you just have that doctor's appointment and the doctor says, hey, you need to choose what kind of dialysis you want to do. And it's kind of like, what do you mean I need to choose?
I'll
it's
pass.
Like, wait,
Right.
Can I
we were
pass?
just,
Can we wait and see? Obviously, you can at that point.
No,
but I mean, it seems like there should be some point at which there's another sign in there somewhere that a doctor catches and says, "Well, we're starting to see some kidney problems in the
Yeah.
results of your tests and things." And it's like, isn't there some kind of miracle drug they could give you at that point that could stop this progression?
Yeah, kidney disease is a silent disease.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know they have it until, they're swelling or something's wrong. A lot of people don't do regular checkups or eye checkups or physicals. And even if you do, it's not always caught.
Right. And the eye checkup, we were talking about that a little bit before the show, and that totally fascinates me. And when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about that.
Great.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, your weekly radio show where we talk story with our executive directors and the staff of our agencies that are helping the folks of Maui make Maui the best place it can be. We're talking story with Colleen Welty of the Kidney Foundation, the Maui branch director, and Leanne Suzuki, who is a recipient, kidney recipient, who's been through it all. Over the last 20, this is a story about, that's unfolded over 25 years.
I diagnosed with lupus at 24, and I'm
we
48
won't say
now.
that. Oops. Okay, she said it.
It's out there.
Hey, be proud of it.
I know,
Proud
I'm
of
happy
it.
to be alive today.
That's right. Now, before the break, I said something about the eyes, and that we would get into this part of it, because before the show we were talking a little bit about the eye, and you've had an issue with one of your eyes in the early stages of,
Yes.
of kidney failure,
Right.
and how important that eye checkup is.
Yes, it is. We even had Maui Optics, 3 of the doctors come in and talk to our group and some of the patients about what to watch out for and how important those yearly checkups are.
And so when they're looking into your eye, they are really looking for other things that could be going on in your body,
Yes.
in your system, and the eye tells them some of
Right,
these things.
right.
And in your case, what was the outcome with your eye was?
Well, I have a detached retina, meaning the blood vessels behind my eye, it burst because of my blood pressure being too high. And again, I didn't know. Just one morning I woke up and I thought, hey, something's not right. So I went to the eye doctor. They couldn't even see behind my eye because it was just all, messy back there.
Okay, filled with blood.
Right.
Okay.
So I had to go and see a specialist, and they lasered my eyes, but they couldn't do much for it.
Wow, just overnight.
Yes.
So that was as a result of the hypertension and the high blood pressure that you had as
Yeah.
part of the ongoing issue that was happening.
Yeah, so it's really important to keep up with those blood pressure machines, let your doctor know. And at my time, they were adjusting the medications, so it was kind of, I guess, an unfortunate thing that happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just, the thing I guess that gets me is that there's so many things that are going on in people's lives, in their health, that could be early signs of some kidney issues coming up. But because we're just kind of used to aches and pains, a little swelling here and there, being a little tired. I mean, what's tired?
Yeah.
You know?
Who isn't tired?
Can anybody define tired?
Right.
It's a constant state for some people,
Right.
but yet for others, they just ignore that they're tired and keep on going.
And that's why our screenings are so important, that we have like our kidney decline, because
Right.
we do the finger prick for the blood, and they also give us a little urine specimen, which we have the urinalysis machines. And it's always kind of odd, like, what? I'm going to go to the mall and give you my shishi? But it's all very professional. The
Right.
doctors and nurses and Maui College student nurses, and they do it right there. They have a machine, our machines, and staff, and then volunteers, doctors, nurses, and pharmacists speak to you before you leave. So you get your numbers, and you get this is all free to people. It costs us a little to put it on, but that's why we have kidney clothes and kidney cars and
Right.
all of the donations to to turn around and try and help people, because a lot of people don't have insurance, or they have a fear of going to the doctor. They think, no, I don't want to find out. But really, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
If there is something wrong
face
with
it.
you,
That's true.
Find out and face
go
it.
early rather,
Yeah.
and it might not be as bad
Right.
then to get some help.
When you
So-
were on last time, we were getting ready for Kidney
believe so.
Decline Day, and you were going to hit a landmark number
yes.
of people.
Yes, we did.
Did
we
you?
hit over 1,000 people now over the 7 years that the event's
Wow.
gone on. Yeah, and plus some.
Yeah.
That we, the little lady that was number 1,000 was a little overwhelmed when we said, oh, "Can we take your picture? Can we give you this bag of special gifts and items?" And she's kind of like, "What?" But she was we were like, "Okay, good." So
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was very good.
Well, that's probably the least what's the word I want?
Onerous or
Yeah,
painful.
yeah,
Right.
to go there and do it
Yeah.
rather than saying I'm going to make an appointment, go to the doctor, and this
Right.
is what I want them to look into.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, do doctors? And this is probably a hard question to answer, but you would think at some point during this progression, like what she had, the doctor's going to start looking at kidney issues because it's not. They can't stabilize the lupus. They can't stabilize the high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Everything is just continuing to work against them.
There's some special tests like a GFR, which is glomerular filtration rate, that they can test and see. And on your blood reports that you get back, it'll probably just say over 60, and that's fine. But if it's under 60, they'll have a specific number there, and then the lower is bad. So that's one of the things that it shows up on your blood tests.
I see. Okay.
You can look for GFR, and it's real big words, but it's glomerular filtration rate.
Yeah.
And
I listen to commercials for different medicines, right? And they go nuts on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, they spend 3/4 of the time telling you what the side effects
Yeah.
are. And they say, see your doctor. If you think this is right for you, see your doctor. And then they say, and tell your doctor what other medications you're on and all this kind of stuff. And I just kind of, I know it's not nice, but I kind of chuckle at that because I think my doctor knows all my medications. They've given them all to me.
Right.
But
Some
I guess
people
there
go
are-
around to various doctors.
I know they do.
Intentionally, or just different specialists.
right.
So you really should carry a little card.
Right,
Just
I
like
carry
you.
my list.
Yeah. Just
I have
carry
my
your
list as well.
Because it's so much easier just to pull it out
Right.
and make sure it's current. And that's good if there is an emergency also. It's on you.
Is there a point at which you can say, like at your annual physical or whatever, say to the doctor, hey, can you run the kidney test?
Yeah, if you have not had your urine checked in a few years, just say, can you collect a urine specimen and either send it out, or some doctors' offices have the lab right there because it's not real complicated. But, it's like, I don't think you've collected my urine for a couple of years. Could we check on that?
Yeah.
And I would think, you're not asking for it every 3 months,
Right, right.
with no indications that
Right.
it's needed. But
Right. Being proactive. I mean, I'm looking at the statistics here that you gave me today. 1 in 3 Americans over the age of 20 is at risk for kidney disease because they have high blood pressure or they're members of minority population, etc. But 1 in 20, that's 73 million people with a possibility of kidney disease. That's
I
just
know.
that
It's
number is just staggering.
I know, it's huge, and it's only going to get higher as people are getting heavier with our obesity crisis, and the kids not being as active as they
Right.
might want to be.
And when I first read this, I'm sitting there going, okay, I have 6 friends, so 2 of them are gonna have trouble. Come on, you guys, you were supposed to laugh at that. 6 friends.
Well, look at us. There's 6 of us in this room, yeah?
Yeah, right.
That's right.
You have that many friends? No.
See, that's what I expected to have come back to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
I wonder
mean,
what
it's
your
reality.
transplant, if we have time.
Sure.
What was your transplant process like? You went to Oahu?
I was listed on the list for a new kidney at St. Francis in Liliha and San Francisco. And when you're on the San Francisco list, the only thing is you have to regularly take blood, send it through the mail. It's kind of a headache, but it's
another
a
list.
possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I was lucky enough to have a call from St. Francis here on Oahu one evening saying, hey, we have a possible kidney for you. Can you come down? And oh wow, you you just don't know what to do.
Was
You're
that the
running
longest
back
night
and
of your
forth.
life?
It was a whirlwind. I wasn't even afraid. You just don't
Yeah.
have time to be, afraid. Everything went bam, bam, bam. You fly in that night. You go to the hospital. They take your blood. They have to run all these tests to make sure you're a match. And next thing you know, you're there early the next morning. You're being wheeled in. I had no time to be afraid or anything. I mean, it was just amazing how they worked as a team. And you have all these specialists. You have your own support group there, social worker, dietitian, doctors, surgeons. I mean, you name it.
Had someone passed away in their family, or did you have someone you knew donate? Or
It was someone that I didn't know. From what I gather, it was a young child. The family didn't want us to have any contact, which is understandable since it was a young child, because the other girl that got the other kidney was 8 years old. She had her birthday in the hospital at
Oh my
that time, so it
gosh.
was like her birthday gift.
Oh, wow.
Right. So from what I understand, she's from the Big Island.
Okay. So that was the urgency in it, that it had to be
Right.
done right now.
Yeah, you only
Yeah.
have so long that it's good for.
Viable, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And so then you're on the
Rejection
medicines
for
and
life.
things for life.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So it has its side effects too, but it outweighs what, it's giving you back,
Oh, yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
I can work full time now. And I have this chance to help other people, and that's what we're all about.
That's so tremendous. That is so great.
we're
And-
so blessed at the
and-
Kidney Foundation
yeah.
to have people that want to come back and help and,
And
share
it's-
their
yeah.
stories like this.
and she's
Yeah.
so outgoing and so just
You
into
gotta.
it. It's like, I mean, this is fabulous.
It has to do a lot with your mindset too.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't, and your family and friends
Right.
always have to be there to support you.
Yeah.
She
Think-
brought them all to the charity walk.
Oh, cool.
A whole group of people.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, to help out for the Kidney Foundation.
So you mentioned family. Do things like this run in families?
They say it doesn't, but my sister has the skin type of lupus. You can't go in the sun because you have rash. And from what I gather, one of my grandparents, I guess long time ago, one of the girls died at 12 or 14 years old, and they suspect it was a kidney problem, and she might have had lupus. So, we really don't know, but it kind of tends to run in the family.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, Leanne, thank you so much for sharing with us today, with our audience. I mean, this half hour has gone so fast. I can't believe it.
My pleasure. Thank
Um,
you.
Gosh, and thank you for all you're doing to help others. And it's got to be the scariest time for anybody to
It
get that
was.
word. And you've been there, as we said earlier, been there, done that, and you're living proof that you can get through it.
Yeah, so we like to help people.
Yeah.
If you have
We
any
have
questions.
a book that we can give people if they're facing some of these things. We have another one
Okay.
that's 100 question and answers about dialysis. So
okay.
that you have some, I know you can go online, you can get it, but there's a confusing amount of information. So just some basic primers. So if people want to call 986-1900, we can put them in touch with the donors, the recipients, the ones facing dialysis, or any people that can help, lots of people
Terrific.
that can help them.
That's terrific. Thank you, Colleen, for introducing us to Leanne, and
Thank you.
all the best to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. And as we switch here a little bit with our microphones and go to the second half of the show, Ray Chandler is here, the outgoing executive director of the, the Community Work Day, now known as Malama Maui Nui. Ooh, you like that. I like saying that.
I love it.
Yeah. You feel like it's real, huh?
Oh man, it's so real. It's reflecting what we're doing. I'm so grateful. And it was nice to see Colleen. Yay. Bye.
So, you've got just a few more days before you're getting ready to head out of town.
Oh, Susie. You have to remind me. Come on.
Oh, are we at that
Come
stage?
on.
John, is she hard to console these days?
She's handling it.
Is
She's
she?
handling it really
Yeah?
well.
So, introduce us formally to John.
Oh, wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the new executive director of Malama Maui Nui. His name is John De Jesus, and he has been one of our most amazing board members for the last 4 years, and I'm so grateful for all the support he's given me as a director, and it is my great honor to support him in this position. And he'll tell you how he never imagined himself here and how this is a complete surprise to everybody. And at the same time, we're all just so overwhelmed with gratitude and
There's something about these
happiness.
nonprofits that just grab us.
yes.
Yeah?
Yes. So I'm going to let John
Okay.
talk about himself.
Tell us a little bit about the journey to become executive director.
How do I start? Where do I begin?
Well, we've got 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Well, while sitting on the board, I could just see the good, what this organization does, and the involvement, hands-on involvement with the community. I didn't even think about taking in the position until, I don't know, the stars
last
just
minute.
lined up last minute, and I said, you know what? I think I can do this.
There you go. Well, of course, nobody ever thought Ray would leave because this
Right.
is her life.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah.
Right. We were in panic mode, and I guess the bottom line is I could say is I just couldn't see anyone else doing this. I just had to fight for it, and fortunately, with board's blessing, and it happened.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
What were you doing before?
I was with the State of Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was an enforcement officer, doing enforcement stuff out
Yeah.
there. Yes, and
Related.
it's related.
Yeah.
It's related. Environment and looking out, taking care. Someone's got to do it.
That's true. So that was a nice, gentle slide from DLNR
So
to the
perfect.
board.
Yeah.
Now
So
as
perfect.
executive director, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally unexpected. It wasn't
Yeah.
planned.
This is left field, man. Just wow, about the universe and putting your faith and trust in things and just not knowing how it's actually going to work out. I have known for 2 years that I was leaving. I told my board 2 years ago that I was going to start applying to law school. I told them 1 year ago that this is the timeline because I'm taking the LSAT, and then I know that I apply, and then after that I get accepted, and after that I would leave. And this, I gave as much notice as possible. And then we went through the process, and we just started looking, applicants, looking, and never a mention, not a peep, not a word from John, that he was interested. And then when it came to the point that we were really looking at everything that we had and saying, oh my, we don't see anything yet.
How do we find 4 or 5 to interview?
Yeah, and how do we? Yeah, how do we know that it's going to be okay? How do we know for sure? That the things are going to continue, and then all of a sudden, after reviewing everything, John is like, "What about me?" And I'm like, "What about you? What are you talking about?" And then honestly, it just unfolded from there. He has been so present with me, and a lot of executive directors, they have different experiences in that middle of the sandwich in between the board and the staff, and I am I believe one of the luckiest people just on earth for how much love there is in my sandwich of our Community Workday Malama Maui Nui organization, that in between the staff and the board and myself, there has always been this genuine caretaking of each other, and that the board just, stood together, and they knew that as soon as John said a peep, they knew that it was a good idea because he's been there with me on difficult hiring and personnel issues, just present in the audit process as the treasurer, just so knowledgeable, and that never occurred to anybody. And it didn't occur to him. And then in that moment where we were nearly at desperation, do we have to repost? What are we going to do? Here it is, So we went through the rest of the process. We went through the entire process, and I love my board so much for being so thorough that entirely transparent, interviewed the candidates. At the end of the day, who knows you better than somebody who's been present with you for the last 4 years? That my staff have grown to know this person and respect him as a board member, so they have that same dynamic essentially. It's almost like it's almost like not leaving but leaving. It's just like knowing that everything's going to be okay.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
How many executive directors out there would have loved to have that story?
Gosh, I wish it for everybody.
Yeah,
I wish
wouldn't
it for everybody, And I believe that it is so possible, and it's all about energy, and love. And the board is so important. They are setting the tone in their organizations, but we all participate, in our different ways that we can add to our organization to make it a better place, and we've just been that. We've just been that.
Well, and over these last 4 years, as John has been involved, that's when you've done all this growing into the different areas.
Exactly.
Of the gardening and so on and so forth. And not just cleaning up along the highway or the beaches.
No. Yeah, and thank you, Susie. Our program's changed significantly, I'd say, over the last 3 years, solidly. Since 2010, when we started partnering with the Department of Health on that Communities Putting Prevention to Work initiative. And actually, Colleen was one of our partners, because Kidney Foundation and all of the side effects related to obesity prevention and the health crisis, that is being faced here by our people. We were partnering with her on those initiatives, leading to Health in Gardens and taking us away from, our primary, focus area for so many years had just been litter and trash recycling, dump sites, and that kind of thing. And the health department just took us on this whirlwind, and our program grew so much.
It truly
so
did,
much.
And then we're going to take this short break, and then we'll talk about all those things you're doing.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes. We're talking story this second half hour with Ray Chandler, who is the outgoing executive director of Community Workday, now known as Malama Maui Nui. And she's just introduced us to the new executive director, John DeJesus. And we're talking story about what the plans are for the organization. And it's grown so much. We talked about that a little bit, how much it's grown since in the last 3-4 years. And it's your big event. I think last time you were on, you were talking about the big event when you were announcing the new name, and you were going to have tables at the Jazz Festival, wasn't it?
Yes.
Showing all your different services that you provide. How'd that turn out?
Oh my goodness, it was a beautiful, beautiful event, and we did have tables for each part of our program. So when you go into this big pavilion and it fits 1,000 people, this area is humongous, and you would think, how could we fill this room? We filled that room with our stuff, with our litter barrels and our recycling baskets and our giant whale and our marine debris nets and all the different elements. Hundreds, close to 500 plants, so many plants. We just used it as a platform to show people this is who we are. We are so many more things than you realize, because people interact with us in the way they do. You know, people who recycle paint, they know us for recycling paint, and they faithfully recycle their paint. They have no idea that, you know, we also do marine debris, we also do gardens, we also do dump sites, we also do all these things. And so it was beautiful in that just in one space at one time, we got to be everything that we are. Because generally we're, you know, one thing,
Right.
you know, sort of one-dimensional at every event that we do that's related to that thing. But people were so engaged. You know, they pledged their volunteer support into next year. It was an opportunity to show. We had this giant map of Maui. It was like 12 feet by 12 feet. It was humongous. And on that, we had little stars for all the locations that we had done a variety of projects at. So all the land-based cleanups had a red star. All the blue stars were the marine debris cleanups. The yellow stars were the native planting invasive species projects. The green stars were the gardens. The purple stars were the recycling projects. And you're looking at this map, and it's got like hundreds of stars on it. And you're thinking, wow, they went all over, you know? And you can see as a community member that we're in your community, you know, and that was the most important thing to me, that people see that it is a Maui Nui program. That is Maui County. We take care of Maui, Molokai, and Lanai, and even Kaho'olawe with their marine debris issues. And so I think just the idea that people can, through this event and, you know, moving forward, especially with our new name, kind of take it all in and understand the fullness of the things that we do.
I'm sitting here listening to this, and I can imagine people at that event seeing somebody they know and going, what do you do with Community Work Day? I didn't know you were involved with them. And they go,
Exactly.
well, what do you do? I didn't know you did either. And so
Yeah.
one does marine debris, one does gardening, you
Exactly.
know, whatever. And it's like all of a sudden, you guys really are this tremendous organization.
Yeah.
I mean, the list of volunteers you have must be unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just a long list of groups, you know, that we work with in the course of a year. And the people that, I mean, generally we represent what any, you know, one person can do on a grassroots level, what they can do to help the environment. We do the things that, you know, that I think there's some high level things happening to the environment. In part, that's why I'm going to law school. Not everybody is going to take on, you know, some of these, some complex issues. But hey, if there's litter on the side of the road and there's plastic in the ocean and it's threatening, you know, our fish or our marine life, if there's, you know, invasive species taking over in public places, and really it's limiting our enjoyment of these spaces. They're not as beautiful without the native plants. They're not as healthy in terms of water quality and water filtration, and even mud getting onto the reef because of invasive species. These are the things that people can do, and we provide the tools for that. And so groups throughout the year, Rotary clubs, school students that have community service projects, all the Boys and Girls Scouting clubs, and churches, people that, you know, groups that really just want to do something positive, we're that organization. We're the people that they can turn to for the supplies to get that project done.
And it can be one day a year. It can be once a month. It could
Be as
be
many
once a
days.
week.
Yeah.
Whatever. And now I'm starting to hear, as you're talking about going, as your law school winds down in 3 years and you're ready to go to work, I'm hearing you coming back, taking this whole thing up another step.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay, so John, I think you got your work cut out for you. She's going to be out here monitoring what's happening.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you know, I am so grateful for the time that I have been at Community Workday Program. First of all, to have learned from Jan Dapitan, you know, who is the executive director before me. She taught me so much about community and about relationships and partnerships and getting things done for the environment. But in the course of working here and working with, you know, our government, really, and some of the organizations and agencies that are making things happen, you just can't help but understand more and more and more about what threatens our environment. You know, you get exposed to it. And I got to the point where I was thinking, oh my, this is serious. And some of it is like immediate, you know, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. we could have some big problems if we don't make some big changes, and so Community Workday Program, Malama Maui Nui, is very important on the grassroots level of what people can do to address, these areas that we're talking about stewardship. But there are some regulatory issues. There are some, urban zoning planning, developmental big problems that we have. That we can look down the road and we can look at other island nations and communities and see the challenges that we will have if our population grows, to the levels that these other countries do, and the environmental impacts, that are in line with that. And so I'm very interested in finding balance. One of the things that I want to do in law school is basically just study best practices. What are other people doing? We're not the only island community. There's a lot of good things that are happening. There's a lot of really bad things that are happening. And we want to not do that, or we want to do that, and that's what I'm most interested in. But I'm so dedicated to Maui. I'm a Ka'ipuku'i Fellow, for anybody who understands what that means. That's the people that pledge to be leaders in the future. And I pledged to Maui County, so I will certainly be back here to be working here with all that I acquire while I'm gone.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So this has all been experience gathering.
Yes.
For that law career.
Exactly.
She's going to do good things. I know it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, she's already done. She's going to do more.
What I especially like is she's got a level head.
Right.
And she's not going to be coming out as a character that's just going to be proposing things that just don't make any sense at all.
Exactly.
You're going to know whether it's doable.
Yeah. And relationships. I think that's the most important thing about the last 6 years of being at Community Workday Program is all the people that I met that I know when I get back it's going to be easier for me, and that like you said, I'm not extreme. I think our environment sometimes suffers from extremist environmental people, that cause issues to be so beaten like a dead horse that nobody hears them anymore,
right.
That's not effective either. And so I want to be able to walk that line and be heard, by all the important audiences that are needed to make the changes that need to be made.
You've certainly laid a firm foundation for that.
Oh, thank you, Susie.
You've been fabulous to work with as on the executive director level.
Thank you.
We've been working together now, 4 or 5 years with the
Maui Nonprofit Directors Association.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's, by the way, the longest running vice president we've ever had who never moved up. She keeps finding reasons for not moving up, and this is probably a really good one now.
Oh, yeah. Now you know. Yeah. But I certainly enjoyed that, the closeness of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association and what that organization does for people just on an emotional level, as a support system. People look at our nonprofits and many people engage and interact and benefit from them. But we all are working very, very hard in this nonprofit community, and we're taking on the cares of the world, to be honest. We really are taking on people in our agencies and the clients that we serve and their problems, and it can cause burnout. It does cause burnout, and organizations like Maui Nonprofit Directors Association are so important to keep the momentum and to be there to reassure each other that yes, you can keep going. Yes, it is appreciated, even if nobody said anything today. They still appreciate you. And helping with that dynamic of being an administrator in that middle of the sandwich in between the board and the staff. And
that's an interesting, I never thought of it that way, but it's exactly where you are, aren't you? You're the egg and the egg sandwich.
Yeah, you are. And then together, you have to work with all the external agencies, that are important to the nonprofit world, which is just about everything, So it has been my pleasure, sincerely, to be a part of that agency, as well as ours. And again, to Susie. Susie is actually a champion at being the president of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. And part of that is hosting this beautiful radio show. And we thank you so much for your dedication.
This show is so great. And we got to thank Pacific Source again, because
Absolutely.
they've been our sponsors for almost the whole time we've been on the air. And it's just a wonderful partnership for us, and I hope they're getting something out of it as
Oh,
well.
yeah. So grateful.
Yeah, because everybody gets to come on and get their turn to talk story. And I mean, where else could you hear a story from like Leanne?
Yeah.
I just, you know,
Wow.
I mean,
Yes.
every
That was
time,
touching. Yes.
yeah. I mean, she's the recipient. We had a donor on last year, I think, with
Wow.
them.
Right.
A lady who gave her kidney to a total stranger on the mainland. She read a story about it and said, "Why don't I give?"
Right.
It's like, bam, it just hit her.
Wow.
And then we had another guy who was on who doesn't want a transplant. He's just going to go with the dialysis
Wow.
and see where it takes him. So there's, people approach it different ways, and here's the story in front of you. So
And it's so good to put everything into perspective, you know. I think that, this is just one example of one instance where nonprofits are interacting and helping the community. But, there's so many moving stories that come out of this, and so many that you won't hear, but it's all being cared for in that safety net of nonprofits in our community. And I want to use this opportunity to plug some events that are coming up.
do it.
We actually have the Litter Bugs Me cleanup, and litter bugs me so much. I hope it bugs you, all the listeners, and we would love it if you would join us on July 27th. That is Saturday. We're asking for 2-hour cleanups from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
That's a
Not
week
that
from
bad.
Saturday.
It's a week from this Saturday, or 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can do it at your leisure. Bring your family, your coworkers, your friends, a group of any size. Honestly, I've seen two
Group of
people.
one.
Yeah, a group of one. I've seen
seen
two
it.
people do some damage on Stable Road, picking up appliances and moving around, a whole bunch of
Wow.
craziness. And that's just people in the community just sick of looking at stuff. So if you're sick of looking at litter, we want to support you. And so Community Workday will give you the bags and the gloves, the supplies that are needed to do your litter pickup. You leave your bags on the side of the road. You call our office, 877-2524. You let us know where those bags are, and we will pick them up. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to care for Maui Nui. The next opportunity like this is going to be our International Coastal Cleanup, Get the Drift and Bag It Marine Debris Cleanups, which will be the third Saturday in September. So if you can't make it on July 27, join us the third Saturday in September for those marine debris cleanups. And County Fair is coming around, and we have happy
the cans.
floats. Yes, our painted litter barrels. This will be painted by 37 different schools worth of children. It amounts to about 100 barrels that go to the county fair and serve as litter barrels, and then go to our state and county parks to be on the shoreline to prevent trash from being on the ocean. So we ask people to join us on our parade. Join us by visiting us at our booth in the community tent. It's going to be very exciting. If you have any questions, call our office. 877-2524, Community Workday Program, now doing business as Malama Maui Nui.
And welcome, John, to this fabulous bunch of folks. We look forward to working with you, and I can only say all the best. I know you're going to do
Mahalo.
a great job in law school. When you come back, we're going to hear about you a lot.
Woohoo.
Again, next week at this time, please join us again when we talk to 2 more agencies. This has been Maui Nonprofit Notes, your weekly talking story session. I'm Susie Tiemann, president of Maui Nonprofit Directors and executive director of Lokahi Pacific, saying mahalo, have a great week. Aloha, everyone.